this game as black. He played a6 on move 1, and we see both players with heads on in hands there on the camera. Magnus trying to go for the surprise, of course. White reacts very classically with d4, and Magnus says, okay, I've had enough of the fun. It's time to try to transpose into the French defense. And unsurprisingly, his opponent here, Bojan Maksimovic, an IM, I believe, here, he's surprising. He's been surprised.
Yes.
It is surprising, Black's opening. He's been surprised, and therefore he's spending a lot of time just coming to terms with what to do with White.
Do you think he's just surprised, or he feels maybe a little bit disrespected?
Oh, Fiona, I would feel a bit disturbed, at least. I would flinch. I would be a bit triggered by what Magnus is doing here. a6, he's played it before, of course, in lots of rapid and blitz games, but I don't remember the last time he tried this in classical chess. It's been a while.
If ever.
If ever. Yeah.
And a6, funnily enough, yesterday Magnus was white on the playing against Ravi Haria, and that was a French, and a6 was one of the moves that you weren't so sure about in that game.
That's right, and I did ask Magnus about his French defense game yesterday, and he said his opponent Ravi's a6 move wasn't the best. He said actually he preferred other moves. He had something in his notes which I cannot reveal, but he said a6 a bit of a waste of time, and here we go. He's doing the same himself as Black. This is crazy stuff. White, of course, has lots of options. You can step forward, going to the advanced French. You can just defend this pawn with your knight in the center. You can even go for the exchange variation. And Black's a6 move isn't that useful, but it doesn't ruin anything. So Magnus clearly trying to avoid any opening preparation.
And it is working, as we see his opponent there deep in thought. Let's move on from here. Let's check in with board 2, where Raunek Sadwani is playing against Milos Stankovic.
Yeah, and I will mention that Magnus was on the beach until quite late today, so now I understand why. 1a6. This game, however, between Sadwani and Stankovic is more mainline. It's the Dragon Sicilian. If we just quickly go from move 1, we see the Sicilian defense by Black, the open variation, and just this last move, g6, shows a lot of ambition. The Dragon variation is kind of fallen out of fashion at the top levels, but it still seems to be holding up theoretically, and Sadwani is the first to pause. I'm expecting White to just play the move pawn to f3. We all know these ideas, queen to d2, and White castles queenside, and it's kind of mutual attacks. Are you surprised here, the lower rated player playing such a risky variation?
Not really. I've always thought that players from this part of Europe have a very aggressive style, a very attacking style. So from that point of view, I'm not too surprised. I'm happy to see it. I hope we'll see a sharp game here on board 2. Maybe Stankovic also saw Raunek was on the back foot on day 1. So yeah, he's playing a very direct approach, and let's see what the rest of the team are getting up to. On board 3, Merab Gagonashvili against Aryan Tarian. Actually, David, there is one player on the Offerspiel team we haven't seen yet. Where is Mr. Eric Hansen?
Yeah, that's the big question. We know he's here. We've seen Eric. He's staying actually at
in this situation with Maksimovic only seconds on the clock.
Yeah, and you can see on his body language, he knows this one is gone. All hope out the window after that nice last tactic from Magnus Carlsen. It's just incredible in the endgame, finding all these resources, utilizing the bishop pair. This is a really instructive example of how they're best use the bishops. And Magnus now, he'll just coordinate pushing the g-pawn with pushing the a-pawn. And, okay, playing on to the end. Give us entertainment, Maksimovic.
Funnily enough, we just saw the arbiter bring new score sheets. Is this move 60? One more move to go. If you're Maksimovic, do you do this sometimes? I might think, I don't really want to use a new score sheet if my position is lost. Do you do that? Or?
I have done that occasionally, tried to grind down an endgame, but my opponent's defense holds firm. Move 60, save the trees, save the environment, save the paper, and offer a draw. But I think this will be a case of it being the appropriate time to resign. Black's a-pawn is just going to march.
Both players, so Magnus looks like he's ready to accept the hand, but another move was made here, bishop d5, maybe a last attempt, but Magnus just goes for the exchange, and the new score sheets will come out.
Oh, not respecting the environment here, the players. One black pawn will paralyze the white knight. I'm expecting Magnus to push the pawn to a3 now, and while the white knight is distracted, black's king will happily guide down its g-pawn. Yeah, this one is quite straightforward. Actually, you could pretty much just imagine that these three pieces aren't on the board, and black is simply winning this king and pawn endgame. The queenside irrelevant. It's all about the g-pawn now.
Yeah, and when and if this game ends, Magnus will actually be the one to bring the winning point for his team Offerspiel, who are currently in the lead 2.5, and there he goes. The a-pawn is running down the board, and this game now really in its very final instance.
Yeah, two moves here for white if you want to prolong this endgame. Knight back to b4 would have been one. We showed that was winning, and okay, we see a handshake. Magnus Carlsen
on move 61.
Oh, on move 61, Magnus Carlsen takes the victory.
Congratulations, what a game by the world champion. He opened today meeting 1e4 with 1a6, but then turned it back into a French, and with his win, Team Offerspiel continue with their winning ways. The last two boards are now irrelevant, although both players, I think Halderson on board 6 pressing. We can come back there a bit later. I think we're going to focus now on the match Super Chess against Gashimov that is currently tied